Welcome back, sports parents and athletes. Today we're going to be unpacking the mental toughness that was exhibited in this year's 2025 French Open Finals through the incredible tenacity stories of Carlos Alcaraz and Coco Gauff, and what youth athletes can learn from their performances. So hello everybody, my name is Brian McSparron. I'm a mental sports performance coach and the owner of Superior Sports Psyche, and I help athletes understand the power of the mental game and how it can push them to increase their performance and possibly become a champion. And today I want to break down the mental fortitude of this year's French Open champions, Coco Gauff and Carlos Alcaraz. Now both of them had to endure some early setbacks only to return as champions. Now let's set the stage here for a second. On the women's side, we had the number 2 player in the world, Coco Gauff, competing against the number 1 player, Aryna Sabalenka. Now, Sabalenka won the first set in a tough tiebreaker 7-6, but instead of seizing this opportunity, she allowed the moment of the event and the uncontrollables of the weather to get to her, thus allowing Coco to shift her game and eventually take control of the match to eventually become the women's champion in 3 sets. Now, Sabalenka, in the second set, in the last 2 sets, she had 70 unforced errors. That's giving points away to your opponent. Now, every athlete and every coach knows you cannot give free points away to your opponent and expect to win. And with every missed opportunity that occurred, either when she hit the net or she hit the ball out of bounds, her mindset began to get to her and her negativity started to go down. Now, with these missed opportunities, she began complaining about things that you can't control in the game. And one of the things that she began complaining about was the weather. Okay, the weather, it was bad. It was windy. But instead of changing and adapting to the conditions of the game and the weather, she used it as an excuse. And instead of focusing on her opponent, her focus was now on the weather. And it allowed to affect her performance. Coco, on the other hand, she adapted her game to the elements. And what happens was, Coco, she saw the fight that Sabalenka was having within herself. And even though she lost the first set, Coco remained calm, and she allowed Sabalenka to just pretty much self-destruct in the faces of the pressure. Now, on the men's side, this was an epic battle between the 2 best players in the world. You had number 1 Jannik Sinner versus number 2 Carlos Alcaraz. Now, this match would ultimately become one of the tennis's matches for the ages, but it really didn't begin this way, because Sinner really took the advantage. In the first 2 sets, he was showing why he was the best player in the world. And then he was ready to put Alcaraz away in the 4th set. Sinner was serving with a 5-3 lead, and which is 1 game away from becoming the champion. In fact, the championship point was on his serve because Sinner was serving 40 love. And a couple of mistakes by Sinner kept Alcaraz in the game, and he battled back from a 40 love to win the game and eventually that set, which eventually went to a 5th and final set. Now, in that final set, building on his confidence from the previous set, Alcaraz was leading 5-4, and the championship was now on his serve. But Sinner, being the champion that he is, wasn't going to go away easy. Sinner, facing defeat, came up with clutch shots when he needed it the most to tie the match. Now, the final set eventually went to a 10-point tiebreaker game to help determine who the champion was going to be. And it was Alcaraz who ultimately took the early lead and held on to win the tiebreaker set and eventually the championship. Now, today I want to go over what are some 3 mental points that youth players can learn from this tennis finals. Now, first, you don't have to be a tennis fan to understand the storylines here. What's going to apply today applies to all athletes of all sports. Now, first is you need to believe in yourself, even when things aren't going your way. Now, both champions were down, okay? And they, instead of insisting and bowing to the situation, they rose to the opportunity. Both Coco and Carlos remained calm in the moment, and they adjusted their thought process to really just win 1 point. Win this point, okay? This viewpoint allows them to really stay in the moment and just focus on competing now and not worrying about the future, okay? So athletes, this is what I want you to do. Get out a piece of paper. I want you to write the word down, win. W-I-N. In order to win, you have to focus on what's important now. Okay? W-I-N. Focus on the next play after a mistake. Focus on getting a clean strike of the ball during a penalty kick. Focus on seeing the ball come out of your pitcher's hand. Now, having a clear and concise focus on the present moment will help take your game to another level. Number 2, your emotions can take your game from good to bad or bad to good. Now, in the women's final, Sabalenka had Coco on the ropes by winning the first set, but she allowed her emotions to overtake her performance when mistakes started to occur. And as she was battling her emotions inside, Sabalenka allowed those frustrations to really be exhibited outside. And when Coco witnessed Sabalenka's body language change with each and every opportunity, Coco knew that all she had to do was just to remain calm and use Sabalenka's negative emotions as her advantage to win the championship. Now, athletes, your performance is dictated by your relationship between your thoughts and your emotions. Negative thoughts plus negative emotions is going to equal negative outcomes. Now, this relationship will ultimately lead to bad body language. Now, having bad body language will give your opponent the edge. So don't give any opponent the edge. Maintain strong body language and control your emotions. And number 3, adapt your game to change the momentum. Early in the match, Alcaraz was going shot to shot with Sinner, but not gaining much of an advantage. Alcaraz then switched up his shots. He started using low, flat ground strokes to help bring in Sinner to the net with some drop shots. And this really kind of disturbed Sinner's rhythm. Now, Coco, on the other hand, she turned her defensive style of play into her offense, and then she began attacking Sabalenka's second serve. Athletes, mentally tough athletes, thrive on being flexible and changing their game based on the situation of the game. You can go in a game plan on what you want to achieve, but if you notice your game plan is not working, or you can use your opponent's negativity or weakness as your advantage, then being flexible is your key. Now, I hope you have gained some valuable insight that your athlete can use in their game. Now, the mental game is part of sport that is often neglected in the development of youth athletes, but from the events of the 25 French Open, I hope you understand the value of the mental game has on an athlete's performance both positively and negatively. Now, I teach athletes the importance of the mental game so that they can compete freely, calmly, and confidently. And when your athlete focuses on the mental game, they will learn different skills on how to compete one point or one play at a time. Understanding the beliefs to overcome your fears. Keeping your emotions in check. And present moment focus will help build consistency. And a growth mindset will help keep you moving forward. If your athlete wants that mental game advantage, then please check out my online course, The Resilient Athlete, where I teach athletes mental game tips and strategies so that they can have that competitive edge. Now also, please check out my free ebook on mental resilience to test your athlete's level of mental toughness. Now, both the information for the course and for the ebook are listed below in the description. I want to express what my mantra is when it comes to mental performance. Is this: confidence is built, mental toughness can be developed, and your athlete deserves both. Now, thank you for watching. Now, if your athlete is training their mental game, please drop a comment on how your athlete responded when a situation really challenged them. But also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell because your athlete's next breakthrough could be 1 point away.